Beer Lounge mini-series by the Beer Fridge podcast is sponsored by Indie Brew and their special one-off box created by Andy and Josh from IPA Adventures and the Daily Tipple. The guys have selected 8 premium craft beers, included their tasting notes, gift packages and delivery, and of course that all-important snackaroo. Search Indie Brew or follow the guys on Instagram, search IPA Adventures or the Daily Tipple and follow the links on their bio. Welcome to part 2 of the Beer Lounge with the Beer Fridge podcast. Howay the Beers, IPA Adventures and the Daily Tipple. Thanks for listening to the last episode when we look in depth into lagers and pilsners. We're now going to go into the deep dark, no, maybe not dark, but definitely deep DIPAs and the double IPAs, which I don't know about you guys, but I am fucking buzzing for this bit. Yeah. Absolute buzzing. Who wants to go first? Andy's dying. Andy is dying to go first. This is your area. Talk to me.
This is definitely my area. I'm always chasing the latest dippers and tippers, and for me, choosing a dipper for this show, there was an easy option because Track have just released If Not Now, which was my favourite dipper of last year, and they released it again last week. The rebrew shortly after they released a tipper version of it, and this is just a fantastic beer. It is an 8% dipper, hot with Strata, Citra, and Galaxy, which are alongside Nelson. So I've been 3 of my 4 favourite hops. Absolutely love that hop profile. I love Galaxy because it is, as the craft beer wankers would say, it's dank and weedy.
Bingo words. There we go. Love it.
It's a punchy beer. It's got lots of kind of stone fruit, tropical flavour, but you get that really nice punchy, weedy vibe. It's just absolutely brilliant. And it's no secret that I'm a big fan of Track. I'm a Manchester born and bred lad, and it's a local brewery to me, and I just like what they do.
Sounds absolutely banging.
It is really, really good.
I'd go with
that. Sign me up for a bit of that, thank you. I've never tried that myself, but it definitely sounds like a beer that's right up my street. Like you said, it's got Nelson, so my mate Nelson in there, which we're an advocate for, definitely.
Oh, sorry, it doesn't have Nelson. I said that's one of my 4. That's the 4th of my 4 favourite hops. It has the other 3. Strata,
it was that
Galaxy.
It was an excuse for me to say my mate Nelson more than anything. But yeah,
that's every time you do that, though. You know that, eh? So.
But no, it sounds absolutely banging. Anybody else tried that beer?
I had it last week. Oh, sorry, Chris, you can go first, pal.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say I've got it in the fridge though. I'm going to probably have it this week, so I'm looking forward to that after Andy rants and raves about it all the time.
Yeah,
you could squeeze 2 into this session, couldn't you, Chris?
Of course could. Of course it could. No, I had it last week. Andy sent it me because usually Andy's my mule to go to Track and Cloudwater, so I'll get him to get all my beers from there, like you do. And he sent this in and he was like, oh, this is well good. And I was like, oh, well, I don't remember me saying to you, will you get me one? So he says, oh, well, I bought 3 just in case. So he sent me one and I think I had it on that night, proper Burnley accent there. And it's probably my second favourite dipper of this year. At the same time, you also had, I know one of them is going to preview tonight. Oh, can you still hear me?
Oh, aye.
Yep. So there's a dipper that's going to come on here tonight, which is my first favourite, which Chris has got. The second one would be Andy's, and it literally just beat Rivington's dipper, the Kale. Oh, Blood Machine, sorry. It just beat the Blood Machine. I think purely because the Blood Machine was just too sweet. I thought the track dipper has got a bit more. It's more harsh. I think it's like it's more zooped up to be a dipper in my opinion. So that's why it literally on margins why I picked Track's dipper to be my second one. But there's definitely a better dipper in here tonight.
And you know what? I would absolutely agree with Josh. If I had to pick my 3 favourite dippers of the year, I would also say that the one that Chris is gonna preview here is also my favourite. The Track one would be my number 2, and Blood Machines by Rivington would be my number 3 as well. I think those are 3 fantastic beers.
Sounds awesome. Sounds tremendous. Sounds like we need to definitely get in and around. I'm going to jump in because I'm just jumping in right now because this is potentially my favourite dipper. I've never tried those ones that you guys were mentioning, but this is potentially one of the best dippers that I have personally had. This is from Overtone. It's one of their newer ones. It's called Blur. It's 8%. 5 hop combo. So it's got Galaxy, Citra, Azaka, Simcoe, and Chinook. Oh my fucking god. This massive tropical aroma. It's silky smooth and thick, well-balanced body. Massive kind of stone fruit flavours with that tropicalness coming through as well. 8% is hidden beneath it all. Slight dry bitter finish on it as well. This, for me, is Overtone in a can. Overtone can basically do no wrong. They're fantastic at doing IPAs and NIPAs and DIPAs, and this is up there with potentially the best one I've ever had. And this is, just fucking buy it. It is tremendous. It is the absolute bollocks.
Did you try the cut
Probably
teeth?
will buy it.
So Scott's tried the cutting teeth.
I thought it was
Fantastic.
I thought
The
it was
cutting
really
teeth
good.
is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I've tried a few of theirs. I mean, I was going to say Blur's probably the tamest name I've seen for an Overtone beer. It's quite understated as a name, but probably lends it pretty well. It sits alongside the others in terms of the other good DIPAs, if you like, kind of well acclaimed ones, and the one word title. There's nothing worse than having to spew through 8 words to get the title of a beer out sometimes, although their longer ones are pretty good. I really enjoyed the cutting teeth on the west side of things. The Kanye West was really good.
Yeah.
The double West Coast I thought was superb. It was a really good example of that style, which you don't see too often in a double. It's normally the kind of hazier, weedier, more dank, just to use all the bingo words. Beers that you get in that kind of area, but this is definitely where Overtone sit, isn't it? They've made some forays into the stout world and the imperial kind of stout side of things, which I think are going okay, but not as well as the double IPA side of things.
They always come back to the IPAs. I mean, I've still got a elementary in my fridge. I've got to be honest, I am a massive advocate for Overtone. I just realised when I went back through the beer pictures, every kind of month there's at least a couple of Overtone orders that I've had delivered, and I think there was last week I had 6 or 7 Overtones in my fridge, and I'm like, yous are fucking making me bankrupt.
Unbelievable. I mean, if somebody like Andy and Chris and them, we were talking before we started about the depth of the kind of cupboard or wherever it is that you guys are storing beers and how many beers are in there because of posts and stuff. If you were to try and track everything that Overtone do, you would be stuck. You would need to buy a unit.
Yeah.
They've got a new beer every fortnight or less.
I rarely get hold of much Overtone. I've had a couple from them, which were really good. But yeah, I mean, as it is, I have 100 beers in the house undrunk. All of them, craft beers. I don't think there's any of them under 5%. So,
well, I mean, as and when lockdown kind of eases up, if you need a hand,
you'd have to say that Overtone are the new Pomona for this year because they were releasing week in, week out last year.
That is crazy. Their schedule.
Overtone are doing
they
it
still
now.
are. Yeah.
It's literally on their I think it's on their Instagram. They literally say it's like we release a new beer every Tuesday, Thursday, every week, and it's just like the brewing schedule must be absolutely unreal in that place. Just brewing new 2 beers. We've got
must be such good fun working there, though.
Aye, but the thing is as well, like we've mentioned it in our private chat, going, we just wish they had a core range, and the one that we've said that we really like is the Ouija that they did, which is just another fantastic beer. And if you've never had Overtone and you like NIPAs and you like DIPAs, definitely give them a go, because you will not be disappointed at all.
They are still quite new, aren't they?
They are. Relatively.
So they're probably still trying. I think that they probably are still trying to find their actual
what's the hit
house beer. Yeah,
definitely.
It's going to be the one that sells out probably
in the pub.
Yeah,
when they're open.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever one they can shift in a pub. I can't wait to try it on draft. On draft.
Aye.
I've tried one Overtone double IPA for the Grunt and Growler on draft just as things opened up again the first time. I managed to get a growler fillet and it was absolutely superb. So to be able to walk in somewhere and get 2/3 or a pint of something like that would be unbelievable.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad I've got that out the road. That means I don't need to nurse it to talk about it. Who's next?
Just drink it.
I can just drink it now and be happy.
Or do you want to go down the roller coaster? Because I know Josh has got stuff to say about my pick. So we'll see. So this is my favourite, and it's because, Mark, you ready with your t-shirt? It's because it's all Nelson. So this is Verdant's Unconventional Tactics, which I picked up the first time because of the can art. Loved it the first time I'd had it. I was away up north, kind of cabin, whole situation, and I'd been out walking for at least 20 minutes, which is far too long for me. And I came back, and this was had been in the fridge, and cracked this, and it was the first time I'd tried Nelson probably as a single hop variety in a double IPA, and I thought it was absolutely superb. I love the kind of white wine flavour, that kind of dryness that you get on it. It is all dry. It's got the right kind of colour in it. It's pretty kind of murky looking, which is what you're looking for. For me, it does hit all the right notes. I love that hop that you see. It's probably it's your number 4 hop, Andy. It's probably up there, kind of number 2, number 1 for me in terms of that style. It's my favourite kind of flavouring that I'm looking for, and this is just a great example of it. It's 8%. As I say, the can art's unbelievable. The kind of samurai style is different class. I've bought it. This is the second time I've had it. I bought 2 more cans, and that's it away. And as a testament to how much I enjoy it, I'm sad. I do this every now and again where I drink a beer and then I'm sad that it's not there anymore. This is one of them. I'm sad that I've drunk it.
I've got to say, as much as I love the 3 hops that I have in my DIPA here, Nelson Sauvin is probably my favourite of them all. And last year's crop of Nelson just, seemed to be amazing. And Cloudwater, every time they put any New Zealand hops in their tippers, they just were magic. And I remember Daya releasing Saturated in Nelson. That was the best of that series.
Yeah.
So, as much as I don't drink much Verdant these days, I used to. When I first started this account, I was like, every beer was Verdant. I think the first year of my account, almost 25% of the beers I drank were Verdant. I barely drink them anymore. But yeah, I probably should drink more, and that sounds amazing.
Josh, you're shaking your head. Talk to me.
The best beer in that series was Saturated in Motueka.
It's another New Zealand hop, but I personally preferred the Nelson and the Galaxy and the Motueka. They were the top 3 for me.
Well, you've been waxing lyrical, Scott, about this beer for the last kind of week and a half, and it's definitely one that I'll take your recommendation and I will try and purchase. But it sounds good, mate.
It's decent. It's
good.
Fun. Like I say, I'm sad it's away. So there you go. I need to console myself with the 2 stouts that I've got now.
Oh Christ! You're going.
What a shame! What a shame!
What a shame indeed. Chris.
Yes, mate. I have got the dipper of the year so far. And I have got the Gods of the North Wylam with Put a Dank on it, which is 8.5%, and it was brewed in collaboration with Good Things Brewing. Is that what they're called? Good Things.
Yeah, Good Things. Yeah.
Brewing. And just listen to this hop combo. Galaxy, Nelson, Ella, Vic Secret, and Enigma. Now, it's buzzwords are coming in again, boys. So it's dank, funky, weedy. It's that thick you could pour it on a plate and eat it with a knife and fork. It's so good, man. So good. And the can is just fucking class. So nobody needs to say any more about this one because it just fucking wins.
Well, that'll be the end of that episode then, eh?
If you can chew it as you're drinking it, it's got to be a good sign.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Chris is to Wylam what I am to Track. You know, he's the resident Geordie on Instagram. Absolutely, you know, he loves his Wylam. But I've got to agree with him. It is my favourite dipper of the year so far. It is brilliant. It is a really good beer.
Oh,
but it kind of reminds me that they put out a really good beer at the start of last year as well. I think it was called Dank Marvin. It was another one that was really dank and weedy. And they seem to put out one, a really dank dipper at the beginning of each year that I remember. But yeah, this one, the hop combo is fantastic.
It's outrageous. Yeah, I think the thing is with Wylam as well, and I don't know if you guys agree, is you know, you can have a dip that's really easy drinking and really smooth and all that type of stuff. But with Wylam, there's always, and it's the same in their IPAs and the triples. There's always a slight bite to them, and it's not green and nothing like that. But there's just something that lets you know it's a Wylam beer, and I think that's what I love about them.
Mm-hmm.
I think about a year ago, I always used to thought it was because they were the early people using cryo hops with obviously the lupulin powder of the hop, and you didn't see it too much from too many other breweries, but you always looked at a Wylam and it was cryo, always a cryo citra, cryo,
Chinook.
Mosaic. Yeah,
Chinook was a big thing, and there's that I tried originally early on. I was looking for Chinook, and they had some of the best examples of using Chinook going, and I went on that kind of train for a wee bit, and they were superb at it. Wylam are really good.
They are.
Yeah, I know I take the piss and, you know, all that type of stuff, but they are a fantastic brewery, and you never, or it's very, you know, I've never had one certainly, but I can imagine some people might not, you know, like some of the beers, but you don't get a bad Wylam beer, man. Like, just they know what they're doing and they are shit at it.
I think it's a good testament to Wylam that a lot of their beers are regulars all the time, all year round. Like we were saying the other day, Wylam would probably be the number one brewery in England if they produced more beers on the regular, like 1 week or even like every 2 weeks. I would genuinely think, these guys, I think personally, they hit the nail on the head with every single beer. Like they don't cut corners. Everything's just seems proper clean, straight line. This is Wylam, this is us. Even though I think Wylam are probably one of the biggest breweries in the UK. Definitely. And I think that they know it, and I think they know it because they just do. They sell out all the house beers all the time. That's all you need themselves.
To do. They back themselves. I mean, if you've been to their premises, that you only need to look at where they brew stuff to think these guys back themselves. They know exactly what it is they're doing.
And then I think
like you say, they don't cut corners.
Exactly. And in the news lately, I'm pretty sure they're like one of the first breweries, because they know that they're one of the biggest ones, to like come out and say, look, can't be paying these prices to go and ship it abroad. And even though we all know that everybody can't do it, but they were the ones that officially came out and said, look, we'll stand up for you, this kind of thing.
Sorry, is Wylam a brewery for you guys that, regardless of the style of beer, and regardless of what it is, if it's maybe when you're not too partial to having it, because it's Wylam, you're going to give it a go because of that reputation?
Maybe. I think that Wylam are, you see, this is the thing about Wylam. They brew some brilliant haze, and they brew some really good stouts as well. I love their cold condition lager, but their sours, Hickey the Rake is a decent lemon sour, but they're not quite the same and this is what I love about Track. Sours, stouts, the haze, they can do it all. I'm sorry, Chris, but you know, when they start brewing some really good imperial fruited sours, then come back to me.
Andy, they don't need the frills.
Nah, exactly. I was going to say the very thing. That's a cocktail in Newcastle, is it not?
It is, exactly.
A sour, absolutely not. Get that absolute nonsense away from here.
You know, I'm a huge sour beer fan. I just, you know, I love Vault City, and you know that's what I like about Track. They brew those big imperial sours with the coconut, and they are just really good.
That's your latest.
Track the best.
Aye, definitely. That's your latest report from the brand ambassador from Track. Thank you, Andy.
I should be on commission, I tell you.
Sounds like it. Sounds like Callum. You're wiggling your can around.
This is a perfect segue, Andy, because I've opened a can of Vocations Rosoya.
Ooh.
And it's a sour Kvyat double IPA and
Nice.
8%. And oh my fucking god, this is
Steaming your
the
pants
business. Really is. Aye, this is nursing a semi good. This one, it's Kvyat yeast, Citra, Simcoe, and Nelson Sauvin hops.
Nice.
And it's absolutely tremendous. It's proper bitter, but a real tang coming through. It tastes like blood orange, fresh blood orange juice. Really, really tangy and bitter, but a proper hazy, thick mouthfeel as well. You just look at it in the glass. It's just incredible. Aye, this is a revelation for me. A sour double IPA. And the 8% just disappears into the ether. It really does.
I think Vocation over the last kind of year or so have been underrated because of how wide the distribution is, because of the supermarket, I think. However, over the past kind of 6 months or so, they have brewed some amazing beers. I mean, their Imperial BA stouts, incredible.
I had the Imperial Kirsch over Christmas, and yes, it's a supermarket beer, but it's a $5 a can. So I mean, you can't really class that as a fucking budget beer. And that was exceptional. But this is just it's a revelation for me. The sour DIPA.
I need to get that beer.
It's going on my brew list for this year. You must try this beer.
They're a really, really good brewery. I love what Vocation do.
And like you say, I mean, Vocation, if you look in the craft beer circles, they maybe get sort of a bit of scorn, a bit tarred with that supermarket brush because they're one of the more available breweries and stuff like that. But when you're producing stuff like this, just fucking sit down.
Sit
down.
Go for it, Josh.
I tend to agree. I agree with Callum and agree with Andy. I think their stouts, apart from the cherry one, which I couldn't drink because it was too cherry for me, personal preference. But I think the rest of them, they've just been spot on, and they've sold that market so well, especially all the Rimpies. Mm-hmm. And like you say, we buy it, so we know that it's there on the shelf. But every single one of their other beers is just as good. Mm-hmm. I think we tend to look at beers at the market value, you know, like what you see on the market, like what you see online and on social media is what sometimes you actually just get in genuine taste.
Aye. I don't want to digress the conversation too much, but when you see a brewery like Vocation in the supermarket, does that ever so slightly tarnish the name? Does that put you off them ever so slightly, or is that something you're pretty happy with? Well, you've just had that, so aye.
No, not anymore. No, that's it.
Like, because obviously you've got the likes of Buxton, you've got Brew York and stuff that have got themselves in the supermarket. Is that a brewery you go, they're in the supermarket, the quality ain't going to be maybe as good as I would expect?
I don't think it would stop. I don't think I would think the quality is any less or anything. But if I saw Vocation or Buxton and the likes in a bottle shop, I would look past them. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Aye.
And you probably shouldn't realistically, but
no. Well, you would miss that, which I would have done. I would never have picked that out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was the magic words for 2020. It was Kvyat for me. I mean, that kind of exploded onto the scene last year, and everything that we sort of tried that had Kvyat yeast in it was a win. I don't think we had a bad beer that had that yeast in it. And the fact that it was sour as well, I thought I'm going to go a bit off piste with the double IPA, because everybody's going to have these proper juice bomb, traditional DIPAs, and as much as I'm coming round to that style and enjoying them, this is kind of like an amalgamation for me, because that's when I first started drinking craft beer. It was sour. I was really into the sour beers. But this is, you must try this beer, honestly. It's incredible.
Sounds good. That's, Chris, what you mentioned, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. Like, when you see a brewery in a supermarket and you see them in a bottle shop, are you going to therefore just kind of like ski over them and just kind of ignore it to look at something else? And it's something that I know that I've done, especially on social media, like Brew York and stuff. That Just for Sight, I enjoyed the first can I had, but then when I had a second one, I kind of went off it a little bit, and I've not had a Brew York since, just because. And I know they make fantastic beers, but it's just purely because I've had that Just for Sight out of Morrison's.
Yeah.
I personally just view them all on their own merits. So, we know that North have a beer in Tesco, Cloudwater have a beer in Tesco, but they're producing the best tippers, in the country, and arguably the best brewery in the country last year. So, just because they have a beer in a supermarket, it certainly doesn't make them bad. Now, obviously, with supermarket beers, you've got to be careful because, they've been on the shelf potentially a few months without being refrigerated. You have them fresh, and they are sometimes amazing, actually. Some of these supermarket beers, it's a completely different ballgame a couple of months down the line. But
I agree with the Cloudwater one, for example, because are you on about the collaboration one with Brewdog at the time?
Brewdog, yeah.
I think stuff like that, one-offs, you wouldn't even think of. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just, not for 1 second do I think they're bad beers or bad breweries, because I know for a fact Vocation make excellent beer, and Brew York make excellent beer, and like Gypsy Hill and stuff, they make brilliant beers. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I think it's an accessibility thing. I know I can get their beer somewhere else, so I would pass them in a bottle shop.
Aye. Yeah. You're just going to go for, well, what's only in here? What have I not seen elsewhere?
Yeah,
you see that brand. You see they've got quite a distinct logo as well, so it's not like you're likely to pick them up and mistake them for anybody at all. It's like you say, I would look past it, but unless you really read the can. If you read the can, then you're like you've done, Callum, because we're now buying everything online, so you get the chance to read the can. It's one beer at a time you're looking at. Or 6 on a screen at a time. You might then. I think probably that online side of things has probably helped a wee bit, particularly in your selection, Callum. You're looking at what's in it and what the ingredients are, as opposed to in amongst a forest of other stuff you don't get elsewhere.
Yeah,
definitely. Marky boy,
come on, because I've opened this just so that I can try it alongside you.
Well, I've opened the hype sensation of the year so far from Verdant and their double IPA party, indeed. So, here we go. 8% double IPA, Galaxy, Mosaic, and a Zack of hops. Big Whack, Golden Promise malt in there as well. Interesting fact for me is obviously part of the hop profiles added in through the whirlpool process, so to try and add that additional sort of flavour in, which is becoming quite a popular technique for this particular style. It's earthy. It's the words I've got down here to begin with is earthy and bold. I'm getting mango kind of coming from it. There's a bit of a sweetness to it, and it does sort of linger on your tongue, like sort of after you finish a drink. I've got to be honest, it's not really blown me away. It's nice, and Yeah, it's nice, and
I think the hype train with this is you need to look back to when this first came out, and it came out when there wasn't this kind of style kicking around. My personal opinion of it is it's good, but the one that I've had this evening for Overton is better. But again, it comes back to Blur came out when there was no DIPAs, there was no juice bombs. Putty, sorry, excuse me. There was no juice bombs around, so to speak. So this was a massive kind of revelation, so to speak. So the hype is justified, but it was maybe the first of its kind, so to speak, around the time that just hit the mark, and quite rightly so. And granted, they shouldn't change the recipe. I've got 3 in the fridge, and I enjoyed the first one that I've had, but it's just a case of they've set the tone and people have just caught up.
Yeah, I agree. I've got another one actually upstairs as well, and I've had one of these. I just, when I first had this beer, I thought it was good at the time. I didn't think it was Verdant's best. I actually prefer Fruit Car. Mm-hmm. I think Fruit Car is a fantastic dipper, but I think with Verdant, that beer at the time when it was first brewed was groundbreaking, as you said. Now there's so much other stuff, so many people that have overtaken that, and I'm kind of disappointed that Verdant haven't brewed a tipper, imperial stout. They kind of just keep doing what they've always done, and that for me is kind of just like a little disappointing. Like, that's why I used to love them, but now it's kind of just got a bit boring.
See, I'm a big Andy. I'm the same as you. I'm all into the DIPAs, IPAs. That's what my goes to on the in a bottle shop. That's the first thing I'm looking for. And for me, I find it sort of like you when I finish a drink, I'm sort of wanting more from it. I'm waiting for it to like explode, or I'm waiting for like, I don't want to say flavour to come out of it because it has flavour, but I just feel like it's...
You're waiting for a kick up the arse at the end.
Well, it's 8%. It is bold. It is bold. You can taste the ABV in it, which I don't mind. I like a big, heavy DIPA and IPA, etc. But I just feel like I get that hit of the mango. It's saying here on... I scribbled my notes down first and then I went hunting while you guys were chatting there, and it's mango and pineapple supposedly. I think the pineapple's like still in the mash tun, put it that way. I can't see it in at all. It's Galaxy Mosaic and Azaka hops, which are kind of classic with that, and they've been dry hopped again with the Mosaic and the Galaxy, and a little bit less of the Azaka. And I think it's just wanting more. I think there's a dryness to it that isn't as, we mentioned dry for the Pilsner being like tasty and making you want to drink more of it. For me, this is a dryness that makes you think, I want to have another drink of something else to try and like put a bit of like juice in my mouth before I go back to it. I don't know.
Have you got one of those Wylam Dankonics in your fridge?
Absolutely.
By the way, you've got a revelation for you, Andy. There's I've got a Verdant Stout to have, an Imperial Stout actually. Tease for the next episode. I've got their Don't Fear the Ferryman to have next. So we'll see what it's like. But there is an Imperial Stout, but I might be bigging it up for nothing. It might be. It might be not worth talking about.
Yeah, I can imagine it be a straight up Imperial Stout, no adjuncts, probably not so much. I think I avoided that one actually, but.
Aye.
Gilroy, you've had the putty. Your thoughts on that?
I'm drinking it right now. I don't think it's worth anywhere near the hype. I mean, I ended up through sheer hype with 6 cans of it. Managed to gift one. Sorry, I managed to swap one with Callum for the stuff that we got for the wee beer shop, which was a good bit of business as far as I'm concerned.
I'm kind of not even looking forward to drinking it now.
A good bit of business. Glad we swapped before this podcast, which is excellent. Thank you. No, I think it's a good beer. I think it's one of the ones with the hype surrounding it. You've got to have tried it once will I go back and get the rebrew if they do it again next year or later this year? Probably not. In fact, more than likely not. I think it's one of the ones you can, as a craft beer drinker who wasn't able to get it or wasn't aware of it the first time, it's one that you can tick off the list and say you've tried. Have I tried the best version of it? I don't think so either.
No.
I think you had to try it in the context is makes it a lot of a beer that's released. I mean, there's a good few that have been released now that wouldn't hold weight just because of the context that they're in now. And I think this is one of the ones that's probably fallen victim to that a wee bit. It's looking for something more, which a lot of other breweries like Track, even Verdant with some of their other beers that they've got. We've mentioned a few others. I mean, I've got the 40 watt that I think stands up against this no bother unconventional tactics, which I've obviously had on my list here. Verdant do better beers, and then everybody else is also doing far better beers than this around about it. So I think it's now one of a crowd, whereas perhaps it wasn't before.
Yeah, definitely. It is what it is. It was good at its time, and not saying it's not good now, but everyone else.
It was good to get excited about. I did get excited about.
Oh, it was a big
having
time,
the green
big
can,
time,
and I thought the can art was pretty good, and they're obviously smart with their marketing. They know what they're doing.
They knew exactly what they're doing. Are we all done? Have we got
Josh? We haven't heard from Josh yet.
Josh. Sorry, mate.
He's probably arsed us and onto another one now.
Nah, well, I fucked up because I was going along the same lines with Chris. We're going for the Wylam DIPA. And within panic of forgetting what I actually had to get, I reached out to S43 for their Old Lang Zealand IPA.
Ah, that's new.
Beautiful.
Nice.
That's fresh.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you now. So, what a lot of people don't know is this brewery, they're still transitioning from like a craft beer brewery to fully pledged craft beer, which I suppose you could say that they really are now, because some of the stuff that they've got there are just like absolutely manic at the minute. But this New Zealand IPA has got 5 hops in: Nelson, Motueka, Watatati, Econaut, and all the rest of them. Well, there's only one more. This has got mango, apricot. It's got your danky. It's got your piney. It's super soft, but it's also thick.
Mm-hmm.
And then it literally changes. Like after you've drank it, like in your mouth, there's like a fucking beautiful aftertaste, and it just lingers. Then when the colour of it is fantastic. And me and Chris were actually quite lucky. I reached out to them to see if I could be the first person to drink and review it.
Aye.
But at the same time, they also did a competition which Chris won, or Chris got a free beer out of it. So me and Chris kind of had it at the same time, and we both drank it, and we both went, "This is probably like the best IPA I think I've ever had."
Yeah, I think for us, S43 is a brewery that
quite good at sours, isn't he, Mark?
We hold quite dear to the podcast. Mark had asked every brewery who had been on the podcast to make a Battenberg beer, and they came up trumps with Mr. Siplin. After they'd been on the podcast with us, they made it 2 months later. So a wee tick for us because hashtag Mark's idea. That was us. So yeah, no, S43 make tremendous beers. Chris there is a wizard at making beers. There's the Dank Night for me was one of the best things that I had drank last year. Lucky enough, same with you guys, he sent me one of those after the podcast when I'd said, look, I really want a Dank Night. It looked like I love Batman personally. I've always been a Batman fan, and that spoke to me, and he sent me that, and that was tremendous. I feel quite sad actually, because I nearly picked that beer up, Josh, last week, and for whatever reason I picked something else, and now I feel like I've just I feel like I've just backstabbed S43, so I'm going to have to buy it. I'm going to have to buy more. I'm going to have to go and find it.
This is what I'm saying. I think a lot of us aren't. You see S43 with all these like fancy looking cans, and I think a lot of people are just buying them for that. But I think a lot of people aren't noticing this transition that they're going through right now from being from being just like one of the good ones. So I think that in the next 3 or 4 years, I'm not saying that they're going to be up there with Track, and I think they'd be polite to agree with me, as good friends as we are. But they're definitely 100% going to be up there with like the best, because the beers are just fantastic.
The Beer Lounge mini-series by the Beer Fridge podcast is sponsored by Indie Brew and their special one-off box created by Andy and Josh from IPA Adventures and the Daily Tipple. The guys have selected 8 premium craft beers, included their tasting notes, gift packaging and delivery, and of course that all-important snackaroo. Search Indie Brew or follow the guys on Instagram, search IPA Adventures or the Daily Tipple and follow the links on their bio.